all fired up to do a talk today about Mother Earth, who I'm very passionate about and love her dearly. And by the way, that's tomorrow, for those of you that are wondering. And then all of a sudden I read the story and I was like, oh my God, I want to share the story. So I'm going to share a story. And I'm going to ask you, that as you're hearing the story, listen to your heart. Listen to where, maybe, just maybe, there's something going on with this story that might be me. Or maybe it could be me. So, having said that, I'm going to tell you the story. So, and this is called The Girl Who Can't Smile. Taylor Clement, 26, was born with a rare disorder that has made it impossible for her to smile. But she says she is grateful for it. Born and raised in New Zealand, Clement has Mobius syndrome, a neurological disease that affects one child out of every 50 to 500,000 born, research shows. Mobius occurs when a baby's facial nerves are underdeveloped. The primary effects are facial paralysis and inhibited eye movement, but the condition can cause difficulty with speech, swallowing, and chewing, according to Johns Hopkins. The syndrome, Clement said, affects my 6th and 7th cranial nerve, so it's essentially like facial paralysis. It also means Clement can't move her eyebrows or upper lip and can't shift her eyes from side to side. Dr. Julian Pellicci, a pediatric neurologist and director of pediatric epilepsy at Staten Island University Hospital in New York, has treated several babies with Mobius syndrome. Infants born with the syndrome may have a lopsided face, may not be able to form a smile, and may have feeding problems early in life. They can also experience orthopedic anomalies such as abnormal development of the fingers and feet. Other parts of the face and eyes may even be affected, such as a small jaw, cleft palates, smaller sized eyes, she said. While children with Mobius syndrome do not have problems with intellectual development, social situations can be challenged due to a decreased ability to demonstrate emotions with the face. They are often mistaken as being sad or overly serious when they are simply just not able to smile. Growing up without the ability to smile brought plenty of challenges for Clement, she said. She was born in 1997 before the advent of social media, so she wasn't able to connect with others facing the same challenges. With the syndrome being super rare and also coming from a small country, it was quite isolating, she said. As an 11-year-old girl, I thought if I can just smile, I would have friends and wouldn't get bullied anymore. Clement said she was bullied for years, for as long as I can remember. It started off as verbal bullying, being told that I was ugly or worthless, or being isolated and not having any friends. Things got worse for Clement. When she was 11, after she had a major surgery, in an attempt to correct her inability to smile, during this 9-hour surgery, doctors took tissue from her right thigh and inserted it internally into the corners of her mouth and into her temples. The idea was that when I would clench down on my jaw, the tissue was planted would pull the corners of my mouth up to mimic a normal smile, she recalled. Pellicci confirmed the corrective surgery is sometimes performed on babies and children with Mobius syndrome. This is a complicated and specialized procedure. The procedure, called the smile surgery, helps not only appearance, but the ability to smile and to be able to pronounce words more clearly, she said. This procedure does involve transferring portions of the person's own muscle to the face and connecting it to the working nerves of the face. This is a complicated and specialized procedure and should only be performed by surgeons skilled in this procedure. So there's a picture of her after one of the surgeries. The surgery does come with risks. Clement noted there was a very fine line between tightening the area too much, which would leave her with a permanent smile, and leaving it too loose and not seeing any results at all. As an 11-year-old girl, I thought, God, if I could just smile, I would have friends and I wouldn't get bullied anymore. So I jumped at the opportunity, she said. I just chose to believe in myself and that I was destined for something bigger. The surgery was unsuccessful, leaving Clement scarred and completely broken. She said, "It was such a horrible time for me. But looking back now, I couldn't be more grateful for the surgery being unsuccessful. I think it was supposed to happen that way." After the operation, the bullying got worse. In addition to calling Clement names, students pushed her into lockers, ripped off her backpack, and threw her items on the floor. This came with a lot of mental health challenges, she said. For much of my childhood, I was quite depressed and anxious. While Clement's family provided her with plenty of love and support, there we go. They're the reason why I'm still here, she said. They didn't really know how bad things were. When I was younger, I never told my parents about what I was going through with the bullying, she said. There are still some things that I probably won't ever tell them because I don't want them to feel sad or upset, she said. I know they would feel like they could have done something, but there was nothing they could have done. Nothing. During her senior year, Clement began collapsing and experiencing seizures. The next year, she was diagnosed with extreme clinical depression and anxiety, along with post-traumatic stress disorder. The next year at 18, she was diagnosed with extreme clinical depression and anxiety, along with post-traumatic stress disorder, she said. Because I've been through so much stress and trauma, my brain was kind of shutting down. The seizures were like a physical form of how much I was struggling internally. At the time, the doctors and specialists told Clement that she would have seizures for the rest of her life and that she would always be dependent on other people. But she was determined to prove them wrong. Intensive therapy played a big part of her recovery, she said. After her diagnosis, Clement underwent intensive therapy, which she said played a big part of her recovery. She found herself at a crossroads, she said, where she had to choose between working on her mental and physical health and putting herself into a better space, or continuing to feel unhappy and miserable. She had a choice. Clement chose the first path, although it wasn't easy. There were days when I just wanted to give up. I didn't want to do life anymore because it was so hard, she said. I learned quite quickly that the only person who can only truly help you is yourself. Clement worked tirelessly, continuing with therapy, reading many self-help books, and adopting healthy daily routines. I simply chose to believe in myself. and that I was destined for something bigger. As it turned out, something bigger was a new career in sports. Clement had been a big sports fan with a particular love of rugby, which is very popular in New Zealand. So in March of 2023, she started creating social media content around rugby and motorsports. The Chiefs, a professional rugby union team in New Zealand, gave Clement her first opportunity. That year, she interviewed players from 4 of the Super Rugby Pacific teams, including some of the best players in the world, such as 2-time World Rugby Player of the Year, Beauden Barrett. In her role as a sports content creator and host, Clement says she's leveraged her love for rugby into a new lease on life, a real purpose. Since entering the rugby scene, she has worked to bring inclusion into the sport with the goal of inspiring, empowering, and advocating for powerful change, positive change. Clement is also aiming, she said, to help other sports organizations incorporate more inclusion into their teams. I've known from a young age that I was meant to help people, Clement said. Using my story and my voice to advocate for others and to make sports arena more inclusive makes me so happy, and I'm just getting started. It's been 3 years since Clement experienced a collapse or seizure, she said. I'm living a life I truly never could have dreamed of, she said. I'm doing a job that I absolutely love, and I just didn't think this level of happiness and contentment was accessible or attainable for me. It's been a long journey, and I'm grateful for all of it. Clement has also used her platform to connect with people who have syndromes or disabilities. Her mission is to educate others how to treat younger people who feel like they are not seen or heard, whether it's in the sports arena or everyday life. I really needed someone like my present self when I was younger, she said. It's a full circle moment to be there for other people now. Despite the dark times she experienced, Clement said that being born with Mobius syndrome and not being able to smile has turned out to be the greatest gift. We're all born different and unique, she said. It gives me the opportunity to use my voice and to be proud of my differences. Being alive is such a gift, and it's a special thing to be born with Mobius syndrome. It doesn't make us any less worthy, beautiful, or amazing. That's an amazing story. But I'm going to share something with you. It's not uncommon. It's not uncommon. But what I really want to do is I want to go back and I want to look at some of the things she said, because I think it's extremely relevant to our own spiritual awakening, to our own unfolding. And I think in that article, she has dropped some amazing seeds that we can learn from, that we can grow from, that we can take and make them a part of our own journey, right? So when you really think about it, it comes down to this story, if you will, of redemption. How many people are familiar with The Hero's Journey by Joseph Campbell? Yeah. So for those of you that don't, it's this idea that the hero leaves and they go on this journey. And as a result of the journey, it's crazy. There's highs, there's lows. It's never easy. It's usually extremely difficult. And yet, in that process, they're forged into something that they had no idea that they could do whatsoever. And yet, they come out the other side, and they're this new person that's got this incredible depth to be able to do something they never would have tried to do on their own before it happens. So in this version of Campbell's hero's journey, you've got the departure, and then you got the initiation, and then you've got the return, right? And so in Taylor's story, when I think about that, I think, where have I seen this story before? And I thought, well, how about Myrtle Fillmore? What happened to Myrtle? She got tuberculosis. And what did she do? She said, wait a minute, I'm going to do something about this. I'm going to do that differently. I think there's something I can do here to change things a little bit. And so she decided to start taking action. Did she know specifically what she was going to need to do? Didn't have a clue. But what did she do? She made a decision to do something about what was going on. And she started moving forward with the understanding that she may not know exactly what it looks like, but she knew that she could make a difference and do something. When I think about the story of redemption, I think of my own story. And I'm sharing this with you not to brag or to boast, because to me it's a humble story. Many of you know my story. It didn't start off well, folks. It was not pretty. The environment that I was in, everything that was going on. And I came into my adult life with a crippling sense of self-doubt. And it impacted every single part of my life. And I did my best to try to do something. I just kept telling myself, man, there's got to be something here. There's got to be something here. What I knew was that there was something inside of me. I was already exposed to unity, and I was trying to figure out these truth principles. I'm like, I know there's something here. I just like, how do I make it work for me? And that's when I was saying earlier that sometimes I did it really, really well, and sometimes not so much. And sometimes I was laser focused and I would see results, and then sometimes I would go back and not so much. And sometimes I'd be on the ground in a puddle of tears, not knowing what was up, what was down, what was coming, what was going. And then there's times when I would stand on the mountain top and pound my chest and say, yes, God, I've got this. To follow it up about 2 weeks later on the ground in a bucket of tears. Right? It's the story, folks. It's the story. And so some of the things that she said that I want to go through, because I think they're so powerful. In the story, she found herself at the crossroads. She said where she had chose between working on her mental and physical health and putting herself into better space, or continuing to feel unhappy and miserable. So where did it really start? A decision. It was a choice. She decided to do the former. She decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to start working on myself. I'm going to look at my mental, my physical, my emotional, my spiritual self. That's where I'm going to start. And I think if I start there, then I think things will start to change for me. So that's what I'm going to start doing. Did she know what that was going to look like for her? No. She didn't have a clue. She just knew she was going to start working on herself. And so she did, right? I just chose to believe in myself. And that I was destined for something bigger. I want you to read the first 3 words. I just chose. That's how it all starts. Choose again. I don't care where you're at. I don't care what's going on in your life. I don't care how much you're struggling. Keep choosing. Keep choosing. Keep choosing. Even when it's hard. Even when it's not easy, even when you don't know, even when you're not sure, even when you feel like giving up. Choose, choose, choose again. She chose the first path, although it wasn't easy. So wait a minute, Mike. I thought when we came into unity, everything was going to be all sunshine and roses. I thought when I started working on myself, it was going to be amazing. It will be. It's just going to take a minute to get there. When you start doing the work, you start doing those things, it's just going to take a minute to get there, right? She worked tirelessly, continuing with therapy, reading many self-help books, and adopting healthy daily routines. So in other words, she started to do the work. And she just kept at it. And she kept finding different things to do, different things to work on. But she worked on it tirelessly. She put herself first. She put her own well-being first to heal herself, to go through this transformation on all levels, not just one. It wasn't just a physical thing. Mental, emotional, spiritual. Oh, where have I heard that before? Maybe the medicine wheel? Maybe. I learned quite quickly that the only person who can truly help you is yourself. Now, I would just add a little thing there, just a little thing. There's this thing called God that's a pretty amazing partner to help you, but it doesn't mean that we don't do our own work. God will absolutely join you in this process. But if you think you're going to go to God and say, God, heal me, and think that God is just going to go poof and it's all going to be gone, listen, I'm not saying I haven't seen incredible stories where people are miraculously healed. That was not my experience. My experiences was I needed to do it with God. I needed to roll up my sleeves. I needed to get dirty. I needed to be able to look at what was inside of me, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it, before I could heal. And that was part of my journey. Despite the dark times she experienced, Clement said that being born with Mobius syndrome and not being able to smile turned out to be the greatest gift. Could you imagine her in the middle of her darkest days going, don't worry, one of these days you're going to see this as being the greatest gift. Right? So for those of you that are struggling right now, my heart is with you. I know it's not easy. I know. It's not exactly what you're going through. What you're going through might be a little bit different. But what I'm saying is, I've been there. I've been there. And I understand it's not easy. And what I wanted to do with the story is to give you just a little bit of hope. Just to understand there is a process. There is a way through. And it just involves applying some basic spiritual principles, using some basic spiritual truths, and staying at it. And getting up every day and say, okay, what's mine to do today? What's mine to do today? What's mine to do today? I love this. I really needed someone in my, like me, like my present self when I was younger, she said. It's a full circle moment to be there for other people now. So let me get this right. I went through a really hard time when I was younger. I learned how to go within. I learned how to listen to the voice within me. I did my work. I did my healing. And now all I want to do is help everybody else do the same thing I did. That's kind of crazy. Isn't that interesting the way that works? Being alive is such a gift, and it's a special thing to be born with Mobius syndrome. Oh, no, I already did this. Yeah, it doesn't make us any less worthy being. It doesn't make us any less worthy being or amazing. So in other words, she just looked at it like, look, it's just her road. It was her path. She chose Mobius. Great. What did you choose? We all chose something. We all chose something. Looks a little bit different, but we all chose something, right? We're all born different and unique, she said. It has given me the opportunity to use my voice and to be proud of my differences. Amen, sister. Amen. Loving those differences. And that's what makes it so fun here, specifically at Unity. We embrace all the differences. Thank you to each and every one of you for being a little bit different. Thank God. Thank God. I mean that. Thank God. I think everyone's smile is different, just like everyone else is different, she said. I just smile in my own way. Such wisdom. She's 23 years old, folks. Can you imagine the impact she's going to make in this world? Imagine. Boy, oh boy, though, if you looked at her 3, 4, 5 years ago, what would you have thought? Oof. Yeeks. There's a plan. And it's a very, very beautifully orchestrated plan for you, for your life, for what you're going through. There's a plan. And what I hope you understand is by hearing her story, that there's the other side once you get through it. Doesn't mean it's going to be fun going through it. But I think when you are able to do it with people, together, to hold each other and to support each other while we're going through these difficult times, it can make all the difference in the world. All the difference in the world. So, the process. So what is it that she really went through? What did she really do when you think about it? It can be summed up fairly easily, right? She was at the crossroads, and she was saying, should I stay or should I go? So it was time for what? A decision, a choice, right? So she made a decision to quit being a victim and instead take her power back. Hey, wait a minute, I can do something about this. I'm not sure what. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't even know how I'm going to do it. But I'm going to do something about it. I'm not going to be a victim anymore. My God, when you do that, look out. Look out because of who and what you are. You're standing into your divinity. You're standing into your strength. You're standing into your sovereignty. She did her work. Wait a minute, there's work? Yes. Everybody knows I say that every single week when I get up here. We all have our own work to do. Physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. She had to do all of it to heal. That's what it took, especially what she came out of. Are you kidding me? She couldn't even tell her family what was going on because she didn't want them to feel bad. Incredible story. She changed her mindset and she changed her life. She could have chose to remain a victim. How many people know somebody who chose to remain a victim? Yeah. There's no judgment there, by the way. None. Not at all. You have a choice. You have a choice. You have a choice. It's up to you. So, I hope you enjoyed that story. I know it touched my heart. And I'm just saying, this setup happens all the time. And for those of you that are coming in and you're comfortable and it's cool being here and you're just like, hey man, I just like the energy of this space. I just like the people. Cool. Stay there. But if there's something inside of you that goes, you know, I just want a little, like, I don't exactly know what to do with all of this. I'm not exactly sure. Like, take a look at this process that she shared with us, that Myrtle shared with us, that to my best of my ability, I have shared with you. And others in this room, I guarantee you, I could say, hey, who wants to come up and come up and tell your story? And it'd be an amazing story. So I'm not the only one, and I know there's a bunch of people out there that could do the same thing. And who knows, maybe one of these days we'll have you come up here and tell your story. But in the meantime, thank you. Thank you for being who and what you are. Thank you for having the courage to show up. Thank you for doing the work that you're doing, because by doing the work that you're doing, you now get to shine. Shine, shine. And I don't know if you've noticed it or not, but man, oh man, do we need some people to shine. And even if it's just you showing up, I cannot tell you how beautiful, how amazing, and how grateful I am for each and every one of you. You are a gift. have a fantastic day. God bless, namaste, and namaste.
Hey, it's Reverend Mike here. I just wanted to stop for a moment before you get on with your day and thank you so much for spending time with us this morning. It means the world to us, and I just wanted to let you know if there's anything that we can do to make your experience even better, please do not hesitate to reach out by going to our website. I also wanted to offer you the opportunity for us to get together and sit down so I could get to know you a little bit better and answer any questions that you have. I can either do that by either getting together in person, have a cup of coffee, or we can meet online via Zoom. If you're interested, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can reach me at michael@courage2thrive.com. And lastly, if you find these messages are helping you, we would be tremendously grateful if you'd consider donating to the center. The best and the easiest way to do that is simple. Just go to our website. Again, thank you so much. Hope you have a great day. Hope you're doing well. God bless, and we hope to see you soon. Bye-bye now.